Good afternoon. Deacon Larry Leone here, coming to you today from inside my home parish, St. Polycarp Catholic Church in Stanton, California. I'm actually sitting at the table where our camera crew films our live stream masses and other services. Our church building, like others around our nation and the world, has been closed to parishioners and visitors since COVID-19 restrictions began for us some 6 weeks ago. And just as with many other churches, we have turned to media tools like Facebook and YouTube to keep you connected. In today's reflection, I wanted you to see from my vantage point what I see when we live stream a Mass. As I sit in my chair in the sanctuary next to the priest at Mass, I often pan the church to gauge the congregation level of participation. But now, except for a small camera crew and our faithful business manager who says the responses of the congregation, I see empty pews. Pews that not so long ago were filled by the faithful. Last week I learned that our U.S. bishops are working on how and when to bring back our live Mass and sacraments. That's good news. But in the meantime, our transitional norm of live streaming Masses and spiritually distributing the Holy Eucharist will remain in effect until further notice. While this news from our U.S. bishops is good news, I recognize that not knowing when these restrictions will be lifted can make you feel anxious and less at peace. I can only offer that when I'm feeling anxious, I turn to Scripture for guidance. For example, Jesus' timely words from the fifth Sunday of the Easter Gospel according to John chapter 14, verse 2, "Do not let your hearts be troubled." These words assure me that like all other worldly concerns, these pandemic restrictions too will pass. And when the restrictions are lifted, we need to be prepared to joyfully return to our local churches to celebrate Mass and the sacraments with our fellow parishioners and friends as Jesus intended. Word on Fire Institute recently released a free ebook, Catholicism in the Time of Coronavirus, authored by Dr. Stephen Bullivant. In his foreword to this must-read ebook, Bishop Robert Barron admits, "The suspending of Masses and closing of churches is a very serious blow to our incarnational faith, and both priests and laity are feeling the heartache of it. We will and we must return to the sacraments." Bishop Barron goes on to say, "Plunged into the darkness of uncertainty, illness, and death, and separated from the life-giving power of the sacraments and the support of their parish communities, Catholics are feeling, understandably enough, quite disheartened." While the pews remain empty during this pandemic, Bishop Barron assures us that the church is not shut down. First and foremost, because the church is the mystical body of Jesus. And second, by the providence of God, we still have these extraordinary media tools to connect the church. For example, by using media tools like Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom, in addition to live stream Masses, there's been a dramatic rise in virtual rosaries, in retreats, and in Eucharistic adoration, which carry with them the added benefits of great spiritual opportunity and transformation. Bishop Barron sees in this time of isolation and pandemic new opportunities to take in the beauty of God's creation, or to practice concrete works of mercy, love, and solidarity, especially for those suffering the effects of the coronavirus. Borrowing now one final time from Bishop Barron before concluding my reflection, Barron says, "The church finds itself once again in rough waters. Down the ages, across space and time, the fishing boat of Peter has been beset by similar storms, as Dr. Bullivant shows in his book. But our hope is not finally in the comfort and security of this passing world. Our hope is in Jesus Christ, the Christ who died for us, and by dying destroyed our death. This risen Christ is alive. He gives the church and is present to it even now. He's sending each one of us in our own way on mission, even now, even during this crisis. If we look around at the waves, we will sink. But if we keep our eyes fixed on him, we will walk on the water. In closing, I would like to thank you for spending this time with me, and on behalf of our pastor, Father Michael St. Paul, I invite you to stay connected with St. Polycarp Parish by visiting our www.stpolycarp.org webpage. From our homepage, you will see stewardship at its best as St. Polycarp parishioners put to action in our diverse community their God-given gifts of time, talent, and treasure as they care for those most in need. You will also see how we are helping the faithful stay connected to the church through Facebook and YouTube. And you will discover ways in which you can continue to do your part to further Jesus' mission during this pandemic. Thank you for your time, and may God bless.